We're
Welcome
back
to
for the news.
we're back to for the news. We're back to for deployed weekly. This is a new segment where we briefly talk about a bunch of things related to technology, the cloud, the community, the environment, and everything in between. So today we're gonna have a look at a couple of things. We're gonna talk about the threat modeling workshop. We're gonna keep with security where we talk about IAM roles anywhere. I have a list of things here. We're going to be talking about global tables for Amazon Neptune and also checking out a great blog post by one of our community members on tracking those pesky NAT gateway costs. And finally, we're going to wrap it up with some power tools for Lambda for TypeScript. Amazing. Jackie, I'm going to let you kick off with the first thing. The first thing is this
The
wonderful blog
community
post.
blog post. Yes. Oh, I love that it pops
Yes.
up. I know it's done
Yes.
that like the last 2 weeks too, but I'm still excited about it. But right now we're talking about the community blog post by Jeffrey Wiseman, who's part of our community builder program. And it's a pretty great blog post that talks about tracking down a spike in NAT gateway changes. I don't know how many of you have run into this before. I've ran into it where you're like, wait a second, what happened? Why are we here?
Yeah.
So it's good about kind of finding out why there's an unexpected spike in it and figuring out how to handle it. So
Very important. Okay,
yeah,
NAT gateways can be quite nasty at times, especially if you have a lot of traffic going through it. So if you want to read up on a bit more how Jeffrey had a look or how he figured out the potential issues, go check out that blog post. I actually pasted it in the chat here. By the way, chat, do you use NAT gateways and are they costly for you? So yeah, do tell us about that. All right, switching on to the next topic. IAM roles anywhere. Now, this is a very interesting launch. It wasn't launched last week. It actually got launched, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So this is not the hottest new news, but it is also very, very interesting. The reason this is great because it allows you to use IAM roles and basically you can use them anywhere. This means you can use them on servers, containers, applications, whatever, running outside of AWS. This means that you can technically, without actually providing fixed long-term credentials to your devices, you can have them access AWS resources through an IAM role. In the past, how I used to do it, I would take my Raspberry Pi, I would put some credentials on them, like your access keys and security and secret and access keys, and those security and access keys have to live forever. Now, if you create something called a trust anchor between your X509 certificate authority and AWS, you can actually issue temporary credentials to all of your resources that are sitting outside of AWS. So this, as a security posturing thing, is just wonderful. Okay, let's move on, Jackie, to something else. What is the next thing?
something else.
Threat modeling workshops. Okay, so let me ask you a question, Jackie. Do you know what threat modeling is?
Yes.
Okay. What is threat modeling?
Well, I said that really confidently, but it's when you kind of go through the different kinds of threats that you can encounter and you make sure that you know what they are and you're aware of them so that you can properly react to them.
That is actually correct. And so what we have now when it comes to a threat modeling workshop, because you know what, as the thing you're doing grows, as your infrastructure grows and your application grows, the attack surface of that application workload, whatever, grows with it as well. So having a proper threat model on your infrastructure is very important. We just launched a workshop on doing threat modeling the right way for builders. When we say builders, we mean all of you out there, the developers, the people who are hands-on with technology. So check out that workshop. You can go and do it yourself. I put the link in the chat, and yeah, you can go and check those things out.
Learn how
Moving on.
to negate threats yourself.
Exactly. Okay. Now, this is something I have not been using, but let's talk about graph databases. Jackie, do you know what the graph database is?
I feel
And
so put on the spot.
I'm using Jackie as a conduit for me talking instead of just me talking at you. But yeah,
I don't actually know if I could confidently describe what a graph database
okay.
is. I know that Terraform is like based on them, but
But
never
let
actually
then.
looked into what that means.
Well, funny you should ask.
This is the first
So
time you've got me with one of these questions so far.
so a graph database is just a database where you can it's a type of database for a lot of data which has a lot of interconnections. Think of a social network that uses a graph database. And the AWS offering when it comes to a graph database is called Amazon Neptune. The latest release, which actually came out yesterday, is that you can use global databases with Amazon Neptune. This, in essence, means that you can have this database across the globe, spanning multiple different regions, which is great for latency reasons, for resiliency reasons, and all those things. So, if you're a user of a graph database on AWS, such as Neptune, you can check this thing out.
Okay, but also if you are, please put in the chat what you're using it for if you can,
Yeah,
because I'm curious and I want to learn. Because like in my head, I'm like, oh, social media or maybe like gaming
yeah,
networks. So
yeah.
I
I
want to
mean,
learn more.
the social media example is like the most commonly used one, but I'm sure there's a bunch more examples out there. By the way, yeah, Chad, have you used a graph database for anything? And this always brings me to a thing where we talk about when we talk about examples. And this was actually put out by Corey a couple of weeks ago
Oh,
on
by the
one
way,
of.
it's Corey's birthday.
Is it Corey's
It
birthday?
is Corey's birthday.
Happy birthday, Corey! I think he's turning 40 this day, so I think I saw it. Yeah.
He has me
Um,
gifted Twitter with a video for it. Anyway, sorry, you can continue. I just thought I would.
so Corey Quinn, who is the great snark meister of Twitter, he had this great comment on one of our streams before. Is that we at AWS or just in tech in general, we love to use these over the top examples, which are insane. Like let's say you're running a social media network. How many of you are running a social media network? Or let's say you're a credit card company. There's like 7 credit card companies out there. So yeah, I think we should sometimes use a bit more down to earth examples. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Thank you so much for sharing the link. And Kanema665 asks about the Neptune. Is it serverless or does it use instances? It's not a serverless database, so it's basically launched on AWS, but it's not directly an EC2 instance. So yeah. But ultimately, if you would think about this in such a way, you don't have to manage the instance. So technically, you can call it serverless, but yeah, I wouldn't go so far. And finally, we're going to be talking about the wonderful thing is Jackie.
Me,
Do
me.
yes, of course you are. Have you ever written Lambda functions?
I have, way back in
Way back.
2016, maybe
Wow.
2017.
Okay. Lambda functions were way different back then.
They were, and
Um,
I'm very excited to try them again, but I haven't yet.
but no, but let me tell you one big problem with Lambda functions and serverless in general. You tend to have a lot of Lambda functions, a lot of different moving parts going left and right. And the issues this can cause is there's too many things to manage. Have you enabled logging on all of them? Are you handling metrics? Are you
Accidentally
tracing
DDoSing
them?
your database.
Are you accidentally tossing your database? So, like the management and general overview of all of that content is very important, and it can get tricky really, really fast. So, one of the great things we have built for Lambda is something called Power Tools or Lambda Power Tools. Now, Lambda Power Tools are open source set of tools and plugins for your Lambda function that enable a bunch of things. These things being tracing, logging, metrics, and all of those things. For example, if you wanted to do some tracing to X-ray from your typical Lambda function without using Power Tools, you would have to introduce a whole bunch of annotations and a whole lot of extra code to your Lambda function. With Power Tools, you can literally just do it in a single line, which is all good. The unfortunate thing about Lambda Power Tools is that it is only available for Python and Java until today. So, well, not today, actually. It was launched a couple of weeks ago, but there are Lambda Power Tools for serverless, for TypeScript. Yeah. So if you want to go and check out or apply serverless best practices to your TypeScript-based Lambda functions, check out that thing on that side. So I think this was a big thing because even though I do love me some Python, a lot of the Lambda functions I have written were written in TypeScript or JavaScript, and having this is just great. And I'm sorry, Vietol, there are no Lambda Power Tools for .NET, but maybe they just come up with one day. I don't know. Like we don't have access to the roadmap of this thing. I think that the beautiful part about Power Tools is that it is open source. So let me see if I can find the GitHub link for Power Tools somewhere here. Is it here? Is with this? Yes, GitHub. There you go. I'm sure you can basically contribute to this, and there's a roadmap and all that stuff. So yeah, hopefully the .NET support comes as well. So I think we should have Power Tools for all of the versions of all of the, at least the most popular Lambda frameworks. So yeah. Jackie, next time you write the Lambda function, use the Power Tools. That's all I'll say.
Sounds like a good tip for getting started with it again.
Indeed.
Hey there! Thanks for checking out this video. Remember to give it a like and share with your community. Then hit subscribe and the bell for all the latest content that will help you build on AWS.